When the Kennedy family wanted to get away, they came to their family estate on Palm Beach, and tonight, an exclusive look inside the president's winter White House. Before he delivered those inspirational words, the newly elected president toiled over them while on Christmas vacation at the family's estate on the north end of Palm Beach.
He was very closely attached to this house. It was called the Winter White House, the Kennedy compound.
The home on Ocean Boulevard was bought by Joe and Rose Kennedy in 1933. It stayed in the family for 62 years before it was sold. So the floors are all original?
These are all original floors.
To New York businessman John Castle.
My own view is that a great deal of the strategy and so forth that Jack Kennedy had involved in his government evolved because of time he spent in this house.
When Castle bought the home, it had no central AC or heat. Little work had been done on it for decades. Instead of gutting it, the Castles went to great lengths to preserve the estate.
I think it was it's special to try to retain this history for America, and so I felt some obligation to do that. The president would typically sit close to his father up at that end.
The Castles kept the Kennedys' dining room table and chairs and most of the home's furniture. The den, where President Kennedy interviewed all his cabinet members, looks very much the same. What's interesting about this room is this really was where Kennedy formed his government.
Exactly. And Jack Kennedy sat in that chair, and actually that's an original chair. One thing that was different is that they had a large TV here. This is actually where the boys had their bedrooms.
The president shared this back bedroom first with his older brother Joe, then with the First Lady. President Kennedy is said to have spent hours outside writing profiles in courage and editing that inaugural address.
I think you can look out on the Atlantic Ocean and sort of formulate ideas, theories, and visions about where a country is, where the country should go, what you should do.
Over the years, photographer Bob Davidoff took countless images of the Kennedys, including when the president announced his cabinet right outside the estate's front door. And this most famous one, of the first family headed to Easter Mass in 1963.
This is a place where I think he gained energy and vision about what the country should be and where it should go.
A vision cut short November 22nd. The president interviewed all of his cabinet members in that den, with two exceptions. Bob McNamara, he was interviewed in D.C., and Bobby Kennedy, who he joked really didn't require an interview, knew him pretty well, of course.
Yeah.
which is a hoot of a magazine. I thought you were a lawyer.
I was.
What happened?
Well, we decided, I mean, actually taking a cue from folks like yourself and you around the 1992 election, that there was an opportunity here to change the definition of a political magazine. Certainly the way Americans were accessing information about politics and politicians was changing. Candidates were appearing on late-night talk shows, on talk radio, on sitcoms, and there was a kind of a leveling process, and while the rest of media clearly had caught up with that, we felt that political magazines per se hadn't.
Your mother was a hell of an editor at Doubleday.
That's what I hear.
Would she have liked George?
I think she would have.